Let's begin today's Vanguard news, or lack thereof, with the final Buddyfight collab deck, and frustrating other players that their favorite world wasn't adapted yet. Dragonine is your typical Buddyfight starter that also includes dragon cards in their race, and when it's put into your order zone, you discard a card and your defeat condition is set to 7 damage. It always bugged me how the final boss of this series seems to always use a unique world that plays by their own rules just to even be considered a threat. Head of the Gaen conglomerate Kyoya Gaen, when ridden over by invitation to disaster, Kyoya Gaen lets you add up to 1 dragon race card that isn't a sentinel from the top 5 cards of your deck. Why do collab decks always seem to get the best ride lines? And with no cost to boot. Invitation to disaster Kyoya Gaen, when ridden over by a grade 3 Kyoya card, makes you put the top card of your deck into your gauge face down and draw a card. We went from a really good grade 1 ride line to an okay grade 2 ride line. Savior of the world Kyoya Gaen, while on Vanguard, gives all of your dragon race rear guards 5k power. Once per turn while on Vanguard, you can pay 1 counterblast to either call up to 1 dragon race card or add a normal order card from the top 5 cards of your deck. And while on Vanguard, you can call Azida Hacker units ignoring their grade, and it can attack from the central back row. Is this just Grand Grace, or is this V-Series players reliving their Uranus and Valkyrian days? Funny enough, both are from Keta Sanctuary, whereas Kyoya has a Dragon Empire fetish. Demonic Demise Dragon Azida Hacker is a grade 4 unit card with triple drive that cannot be rode, and can only be called by paying 2 gauges. While on rear guard, bind an Azida Hacker card from your hand or drop zone when it attacks, to attack all of your opponent's front row units all at the same time. And while on rear guard, equip up to 1 Aquilta Vaneth from your deck or drop zone. If your Vanguard does not have an item card when this unit is retired, or you performed a damage check during your opponent's turn, a discount rearguard Vermilion that replaces itself with an arms order. Unless that triple drive icon can actually be utilized, I'm not impressed. Demonic Demise Sword Aquilta Vaneth is a grade 4 normal order card that can only be armed to a grade 3 or higher Kyoya card. This card cannot be played and can only be armed through Azida Hacker's ability. While on Vanguard during your turn, your Vanguard gets 10k power and an extra crit. Then all of your Azida Hacker units get 5k power. And once per turn while on Vanguard, the unit armed with this card can get 15k power for that battle when it would be attacked. Basically the Dark States over trigger effects on demand as well as Bavsagra's shield. This is actually impressive. Too bad the only unit this card can equip to doesn't really do much with it. Yearner of Extinction Azida Hacker is a grade 4 unit card with triple drive that cannot be rode, and can only be called by paying 2 gauges and retiring 1 of your rear guards. While on rear guard, equip up to 1 Aquilta Vaneth from your deck or drop zone. If your Vanguard does not have an item card when this unit is retired, or you performed a damage check during your opponent's turn, once per turn, while on the central back row rear guard, you can pay 1 counterblast at the end of the battle it attacked, and your grade 3 or higher Vanguard is in stand state to stand itself. And while on the central back row rear guard, it gets 10k power when it stands by its own card effect. Then it gets an extra crit if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or higher. Why even bother playing that other Azida Hacker when using this is better? Where this card lacks the front row attack, makes up for it by being a standing rear guard that can also get 10k power and an extra crit. Twin Demon Dragon Zahak, while on rear guard or the Guardian Circle, gets 5k power and shields if you have a grade 3 or higher Kyoya Vanguard. And when it's placed on rear guard, you can pay 1 Soul Blast if your order zone has Dragonine to add up to 1 Aquilta Vaneth or Azida Hacker from the top 7 cards of your deck. A card like this in other nations and ride lines would have made this into a triple rare, yet here's a collab deck making it just a rare. Why bother playing actual Vanguard when the collab decks are better and cheaper? Dragon Knight Cagliostro, when placed on rear guard, makes you draw a card if you have not placed another copy of this card this turn, and you have Dragonine in your order zone. A costless draw effect whose only restriction is you can only use 1 copy per turn. And people say Bushiroad can't design a card in standard to have hard once per turn abilities. Dragon Knight Bercero, while on the front row rear guard, lets you put him in rest state to draw a card, but he cannot be moved to other rear guard circles. and while on the front row rear guard, you can stand himself at the start of your battle phase. If your Vanguard is armed with Aquilta Van F, or have a grade 3 or higher Yamigedo rear guard. Dual flag support feels a bit too early even for this collab, especially when this is a draw engine with no cost. Dragon Emperor Legend is a normal order card that when played, puts this card as your gauge face down, then draw a card, then countercharge 1 damage if you have no face up cards in your damage zone. And you can play up to a total of 2 order cards, but cannot play another order card, except Divine Dragon Creation. What was the point of saying you can play a second order, but only a specific one? This is the equivalent of being asked what you want to eat for dinner, but is immediately told your only option. Finally, Divine Dragon Creation is a normal order card that can only be played by paying 1 counterblast to draw 2 cards. Then you can play up to a total of 2 order cards, but cannot play another order card, except Dragon Emperor Legend. Having both order cards means you get to draw up to 3 cards and the counterblast cost of this card might even become free. And that concludes this Vanguard news without the bullshit. Special thanks to my Patreon members for continuing to support my content creation. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments. We are almost free from collab hell until the Sword Boys comes along.